We are at the Infraction festival in Sete. It's a seaside town. It is a grand art festival. A certain man called Jonas Stampe and also Nadia invite very well-renowned artists, but also young up-and-coming artists. Another extremely exciting artist I think I'm absolutely enticed about. I think I adore this person very much. I know her name, but I think I would like that she introduces herself. Voila.
My name is Xie, but my artist name and English name is Echo Morgan.
Echo Morgan is somebody very special and obviously very red. So I'm as white as a wall and she's as red as blood. Great, what a combination. So Echo, I have to say, in a certain way, I discovered a trend, a color trend in art here down in Sete. You are red, Nigel is blue, Bjørn is black. Well, it's not really a color, but anyway, where does that feed in? Why that vibrancy? Why that color?
I think particularly for today, because when I came to Sete and I did some research, and then it's very famous water justing for this town. And in the water justing, they have these two colors, red and blue. And I think red is symbolized the left wing. And I think I wasn't particularly into the politics, but I think in my own work, red is always, because I come from China and I had a quite traditional communism sort of early education. So red is always a color I work with. And then particularly today, I realized this sports, water justing, is only for boys. And I want to create this warrior character which symbolizes women. So I'm completely red, is painted by red lipstick. So this red it's very feminine.
I have to say it was once again a very strong performance of you, because you are a person who is very present. I think your presence is extraordinary. There is something so strong, there's almost a force. And what we have to point out, this woman is so rich. She has so many things to tell. And every day, if you would have followed her, she had a completely different performance where she really goes inside out. And it's something I admire, because it's such an emotional journey for an artist to undertake every day in a new invention, that I can only applaud you to that. And but particularly today, what I found very striking was the point where you started crying. How did that build up?
I didn't plan to cry. I think the whole trip has been very emotional, because I only just graduated last month, and for me it was honored to be invited. And I think I'm always quite overtaken bigger tasks, so I kind of set myself 5 different performance, one for each day. But I didn't know what to expect about the artist, about the performance, about the tongue, and I feel last 4 or 5 days it has been really emotional. Like last night's performance, it really moved me because I went home, I feel tears in my eyes because every artist was just so sincere what it does, everything just so beautifully prepared, and I see the vulnerability in a lot of them. They were professionally they were beautifully performed, but at the same time they passive and then they're vulnerable. And I think that kind of set the foundation of how my emotional changed today, because I was acting as this really proud kind of symbol of a woman, this kind of character. And then I had this audience which been following me for the last 3 performances. He is right at the front watching me so closely. Every time I open my eye, he just looking straight into my eye. That kind of conversation, it's absolutely priceless because I've never known this person. I still don't know who he is. But the fact he's on wheelchair and the fact he's looking at me so sincerely, and that moment I felt so moving because I think it was a natural raw emotion. I wasn't prepared to cry in the public, and then the more I cry, and then I can feel people's flash start going on, and suddenly this really kind of twist the whole idea of public space that you quite openly express, but they're quite aware I'm performing because I'm in costume, I'm in red, I'm not in my daily clothes. So that's why they feel it's okay to photographing me. But still, there was a woman hugged me. I have no idea who she hugged me, but it was unprepared, and then it was how I felt. I felt emotional. Like last few days, the whole festival, I felt extremely emotional.
Are you drawing a lot from your past times, or where is your source?
I think the reason I start doing performance is because of my family and because of my personal life. So while I start crying, all these visions of my dad, my mom, my ex-husband, all of those people just come back to my head. They were the reason why I started to do performance, because unlike other perhaps artists, like I didn't make a decision, say, okay, I want to do performance. It was literally, I felt painting, drawing, material, installation film. It's all this material become not able to express how I feel, apart from just put myself out there to actually using my own body and using my own voice as a visual tool. Because, so my family, it's like my father, it's the character I always wanted his attention, I always wanted his love, but his life has gone through such up and down, and we just never together, and I never knew how much he loved me. And I think that sort of, and my mother, this really proud, strong single mother, and her love is so intense but powerful, at the same time overwhelming. And my ex-husband, who was a performance artist, like the whole journey last few days, I just kind of imagine when we first start going out together, that his dream is going to an international performance festival to do performances. So whenever I'm acting a character, I almost feel like I see him doing it, but we're not together anymore. And the fact I am performing now is because I'm not with him. Because when I'm with him, he always said to me, oh no, you can't do it. You know, you are a designer. Everything you do is decorative. And so in some way he compressed the side of me, and now I be able to perform without him. In a way it's unfortunate, but at the same time it's sad.
All this pain and all these emotions, these are clearly the fuel in order to the performance, which really helps you to get this across and to be able to communicate your pain.
Yeah, I found it quite incredible because I use a lot of storytelling and narrative in my work. So in England, I found slightly easier because people be able to understand my stories. I can use audio, I can tell the story, I can sing, and people be able to understand. But in here, I feel even more vulnerable because nobody really understands Chinese or English. And so in a way, I think today I left it completely raw because on the first day I sing Chinese song, and today it was a moment I said to myself, should I sing? And then I just thought it's unnecessary because I think this kind of self-contained and controlled, I was controlling my crying. I wasn't trying to be a mess, fall down the floor, start overwhelmingly crying the head out of me. I was trying to controlling my emotion, and I think in a way that's international, and people be able to feel that it's beyond the language. Like we didn't need a translation or anything.
And I truly believe that without the language, the artist become or is at its strongest, is able, because all you need is the gestures, is the way you interact, communicate with eyes. And I think this is what I think one of your really, really strong performances, when you leave it raw, when you do not need a language, when it's just the bare.
Yeah, thank you very much.